L'entreprise est à son 7e directeur général. L'on attend les effets du plan de redressement de la compagnie proposé par Boeing à la demande du gouvernement. À quand la cessation du monopole et l'ouverture du marché à la concurrence?
La multiplication des managers à la tête de la Cameco semble ne pas résoudre les problèmes de la compagnie nationale, selon les analyses des Camerounais. 7 directeurs généraux en 10 ans d'exploitation, personnel pléthorique, dette de plusieurs milliards de francs CFA. Nous vous proposons les réactions de quelques Camerounais captés dans la ville de Douala, par Monique Naossi-Fosso.
Je ne peux pas être aussi pessimiste. Pourquoi? Parce que si je demeure dans le pessimisme, je dirais que ce n'est pas un idéal, ce n'est pas un début de solution. Pourquoi? Parce que chaque fois qu'on a toujours désigné un nouveau directeur, nous on a toujours eu à jubiler et à danser, se disant que non, cette fois-ci ça va aller. Mais on reste toujours optimiste et on attend voir. C'est sur le terrain qu'on pourra le réaliser. Lorsqu'il y a toujours un changement à la tête de quelque chose, on a toujours espoir que ça ira mieux.
Je ne pense pas parce que Cameco, pour moi, il y a beaucoup de népotisme en fait. Il y a des gens qui sont à des postes qui ne méritent pas forcément et on ne fait pas vraiment le recouvrement à Cameco. Puisque c'est l'État qui utilise généralement les avions de Cameco. Donc, il n'y a pas un service de recouvrement.
Tout dépend, n'est-ce pas, de la façon dont seront menées les actions du nouveau top management, puisqu'il s'agit maintenant, n'est-ce pas, de trouver, n'est-ce pas, de nouvelles méthodes de gestion de l'entreprise en question. Nous savons que Cameco, c'est une entreprise qui a du mal à décoller, non seulement au niveau sur le plan technique, mais également sur le plan des ressources humaines. Le personnel qui n'est pas payé, le personnel qui est en voie d'être licencié. Je pense que le licenciement en question est déjà, disons, acté. C'est-à-dire que il faudrait maintenant restructurer l'entreprise. Mais il y a un autre problème, un autre aspect, l'aspect financier, qui est d'ailleurs très important parce qu'aucune structure, aucune entreprise, aucune institution de ce type ne peut fonctionner sans que des moyens financiers soient trouvés. Et jusqu'ici, nous sommes censés savoir que Cameco est une entreprise étatique, c'est-à-dire qui fonctionne à 100% capitaux étatiques.
Des images que signe Marus Kwesso. Le département du Berry est comme une mixture de lait et de miel qui, mal dosé, peut intoxiquer en tout cas. On nous fait signe qu'il n'y a pas d'éléments. On passe à un autre élément dans ce journal. Peut-être à vous, Regina Leke.
Thank you very much, Junior Oseng. I will now take you to the northwest region of the country on a rather sad note. And information getting into our studios indicate at least 5 persons have died, notably 3 gendarmerie officers, 1 police officer, and a civilian after 50 heavily armed individuals attack a security checkpoint, killing these victims. The victims, other people, have equally been wounded in the attack, and the victims have been rushed to the Buda District Hospital. The assailants, presumably Ambazonian separatists, according to our sources, staged the attack at exactly 6 a.m. as the night shift security officers were handing over and also carried 3 guns. A manhunt is currently underway in an attempt to track down the attackers. And over in the southwest region of the country, several persons are feared dead in a dicky few kilometers from Akumba in the Meme division of the southwest region of the country. The accident occurred after 2 transport buses collided and one of the buses equally caught fire. There's been a rescue effort underway in a dicky in just a few kilometers away from Akumba, southwest region of the country, to survive, or rather to remove the victims from the shattered remains remains of the vehicle. We shall be bringing you images of the accident in Idiki in subsequent edition of our newscast. We'll now talk about the change or a new management team that has been put in place at the helm of Cameroon's airline company, Cameco. The new team will be led by Jean-Christophe Ella Ngema, and it will be the new team, the 8th team since the creation of Cameco in 2008. In the following report, Kejang Henry Atembe says that the problem of Cameco is not the change of face, but rather a structural problem. His reports.
Louis George Ndipendi and team have been ejected from the cockpit of Cameroon's alien airlines company Cameco. Ndipendi and team were flushed out on the heels of an extraordinary board meeting on January 7, 2021. Though no reason has filtered from the administration, anyone who is well informed on the crisis will guess rightly that they were removed for poor results. After 2 years in the cockpit, the restructuring plan, which was designed by Boeing, was far from being implemented. And so the flop, of course, lies on the shoulders of the outgoing team. From inception, Cameco was created on a clay foundation and leafy wings, making it difficult to fly the skies. Experts in aviation management all agree that the problem of Cameco is not the changing of persons, but a structural crisis. That an airlines company should go borrowing craft all through its existence is unheard of in airlines business. No country can operate an airlines company without its own craft. Despite approval by the President of the Republic, the Boeing plan was never put in practice. Cameco is anemic and continuously survives on government subvention. With a pyramidal debt of close to 115 billion CFA francs and huge human resources, Cameco presently operates one craft borrowed from the huge Ukrainian fleet. Consequently, Cameco runs on a persistent financial infusion from government to pay salaries and other debts. 2 weeks ago, Social Security Minister Gregoire Owuna was in Douala to abate the crisis when union leaders were at knife's edge with Cameco officials on a retrenchment saga and the non-payment of social security rights. Though Cameco has opened up to private equity, the delay by private investors to pick up shares is telling. Cameco needs to restructure before opening up to private equity.
Now, according to Articles 74 and 75 of Cameroon's Electoral Code, the electoral register is supposed to be permanently open every year across the national territory. At the start of this January 2021, the electoral list has been open. However, registration into the list has remained timid, as we end the following report with you, Beatrice Ngamo.
First week of January 2021, kick-off also of the annual revision of the electoral register. The Yaoundé 1 Elekam branch has registered no name this far. The agents at post waiting for the first voter to register for the year. Same picture at the Yaoundé 2 branch and other branches that make up Mfundi division of the Central region.
C'est assez timide.
It is still timid, but perhaps with time things will change. We are doing all we can to communicate, to stir up presence of voting age for it to be effective here.
Ça puisse effectivement démarrer chez nous.
Visible and orderly arranged, a chunk of voters' cards waiting for the owners. Official figures reveals some persons have registered with Ngoro, Bankomo, and Ngomo branches. This annual revision of the electoral register runs from January the 1st to August the 31st in non-election year. And this is prescribed in Articles 74 and 75 of the Electoral Code, which in principle says electoral registers shall be permanent and be revised every year throughout the national territory, especially with deaths and transfers. The timidness will be common this year with barrier measures against the COVID-19 pandemic in place. Worth mentioning here that the Director General of Elections at the LECAM, January the 5th, 2021, launched the opening of electoral register in Marwa, far north region of the country.
Now, even though the incumbent president of the United States of America, Donald Trump, has assured the world that come January 20th, 2021, there would be an orderly transfer of power to Joe Biden, international relations experts in Cameroon say the attempt of Donald Trump to clinch to power is a stain on America's democracy and sets a bad precedent, especially for African leaders. This report with you, Chia.
American democracy is for sure undergoing a trial moment. Donald Trump not ready to concede defeat of the November presidential elections. The world and Cameroonians have described this as very unusual of the United States of America.
It is regrettable that a leading democratic country in the world like America should have a candidate, a sitting president who does not want to heed to basic democratic principles.
This turnout, political analysts say, has revealed the hidden dark part of the country many considered as a democratic mirror.
The image of America through this election has portrayed that what we always see and hear is not really the reality on the ground. And so we are tempted to call this a shock.
After losing to Joe Biden, who grabbed an overwhelming majority of 306 votes of grand electors against 232, Trump's attitude of pushing his supporters to riot on the streets in Washington, D.C. is a non-respect of the people's choice.
Just for the simple fact that the majority of the people, the states, have actually outvoted him, I think he would have just heeded to cede power and gain honor.
With Joe Biden's victory validated by the U.S. Congress, many hope that Donald Trump is simply crying over spilled milk.
No matter how Donald Trump is going to struggle, he's just going to do that in vain.
And despite the protest, Joe Biden's swearing-in ceremony as the 46th American president comes up on January 20th, 2021.
Have some news on sports.
Et justement, dans la suite du journal, on parle sport. CHAN 2020, les villes ne renseignent pas sur la tenue de l'événement. Pas d'affichage, pas de message annonçant pétition. Pourquoi? Comment? Que se passe-t-il?
Des rues, des panneaux d'affichage qui n'ont rien à dire. Du moins, pas au sujet du CHAN 2020. À 9 jours de la compétition dans la ville de Douala, rien ne...
C'est quand même regrettable que vous passiez dans les rues de Douala, ville qui accueille 2 poules du CHAN. Cotillo, Carrefour, Rond-Point. Je pense que c'est assez grave pour que cela soit remarqué et décrié. Pas
de banderole, pas d'effigie, encore moins de drapeaux pour accueillir les invités du continent. Pour les experts en communication, le COCHAN n'est pas le seul fautif dans ce retard de communication. D'autres ministères devraient être impliqués.
Le ministère du Tourisme aurait dû être impliqué, le ministère de la Culture. Peut-être que ces organisations sont impliquées, mais dans tous les cas, le constat est que la communication est timide. Le CHAN est une opportunité exceptionnelle pour que les villes camerounaises qui abritent les compétitions puissent être mises en l'honneur.
Les mairies de ville devraient être au taquet pour vendre la compétition. 4 recevront officiellement les matchs et les joueurs.
Quand vous prenez le cas d'une ville comme Yaoundé, vous avez l'impression que rien ne s'y passe. En dehors de quelques affiches, on se pose la question de savoir si le CHAN aura lieu. Quelle opportunité manquée pour la mairie de la ville de mieux se vendre, de mieux se promouvoir, afin d'attirer le maximum de touristes, afin de permettre aux habitants de la ville de créer de l'effervescence autour de cette compétition. Donc c'est dommage.
Le dernier appel de la tenue du CHAN a été cette caravane de la mascotte Tara. L'espoir était que cette campagne continue pour mobiliser, comme en 2016, lors de la CAN féminine, les intérêts autour de cette messe du football africain.
C'est dommage, et bien dommage, avec cette rencontre des Lions à prime, en tout cas contre-performance des Lions à prime hier face à l'équipe de Zambie, 2-0 lors de le 3e match dans le tournoi préparatoire au championnat d'Afrique des Nations. Le bilan des Lionceaux est bien maigre, 1 nul et 2 défaites. Retour sur ce match avec nos reporters Joël Ndiom 3 et Thierry Camto.
Les Lions à prime tombent pour une seconde fois face au Tipolo Polo de Zambie, 0 but contre 2, à l'occasion de leur 3e sortie dans le tournoi préparatoire au championnat d'Afrique des Nations. Pourtant, les poulains de Martin Tungumpile ont bien débuté la partie en répondant à l'impact physique tout en organisant quelques phases de jeu intéressantes devant une équipe de Zambie bien en place. La première mi-temps intervient sur un score de parité vierge. La deuxième période est une autre affaire. Les Lionceaux concèdent un premier but et se désorganisent. L'encadrement de l'équipe camerounaise est déboussolé.
Très déçu, on a perdu une fois de plus. J'ai besoin de réfléchir. On a fait une bonne première mi-temps, mais après temps, et puis...
Taxoa encaisse un second but. Le match s'achève par une défaite des Lions à prime, 2-0. Côté zambien, l'entraîneur met cette victoire à l'actif d'un bon dispositif du collectif.
Nous avons fait de nos attaquants nos meilleurs défenseurs et les défenseurs nos meilleurs attaquants, dont l'équipe s'est mise ensemble pour attaquer et défendre. C'est une affaire du collectif.
Jusqu'ici, les prestations des Lions à prime ne rassurent pas le public camerounais. Mais attention, les Lions indomptables, toutes catégories confondues, sont champions du sursaut d'orgueil.
Over in the far north region of the country, a suicide bomber has killed at least 11 people in Mozogo in the Mayo Chalaga division of the far north region of Cameroon. The attack, which occurred last night, breaking this Friday, is said to be the third Boko Haram attack this January 2021 in the region as a whole. And as the second wave of the COVID-19 continues to create havoc across the globe, a group of people that are especially at risk are journalists, as they are always on the front lines to report the pandemic. Our reporter Morindi has been talking to some media professionals in Cameroon to know how they have been facing this challenge in their profession and what has been done to overcome the challenges in this report.
The COVID-19 pandemic is far from being over, and millions of journalists across the globe continue to brave the odds by reporting every COVID information, thinking less of the risk of being infected or dying afterwards. In Cameroon, journalists of the public and private press hold challenging stories and experiences as they reach out to patients in COVID centers and confinement units.
I was at the St. Paul Nilong's Hospital, coming into contact with patients, people who are COVID-19 positive. It's frightening interviewing them and talking to them, and at times you even forget that it's an illness.
We're told that even those who are treated can still contract the disease. So it was really a challenging moment. So anytime we had to buy face mask and then all of that. At a certain point in time, I was even afraid that I had contracted the disease.
The COVID-19 pandemic has strongly impacted the journalism industry and affected journalists' work. Many local newspapers have been severely affected by losses in advertising revenues. From coronavirus, journalists have been laid off, and some publications have folded. Journalists have also worked to produce coverage of the pandemic, combating misinformation, providing public health updates, and supply entertainment to help people cope with the virus impact. Unfortunately, these same journalists are not protected by their own media houses.
Let's not just inform people about putting on the face mask, but we should also be an example.
The safety of journalists matter. They must report to live and not die. Journalists want measures to be taken, especially as they step out daily to report facts about COVID-19 pandemic and other important issues across Cameroon.
We now take you to Ezeka in the center region of the country, where the new bishop, His Lordship Francois Achille Eyabi, has been ordained. The ordination mass was presided over by His Grace Archbishop Samuel Kleda this Friday in Ezeka. The event was co-presided by the president of the Episcopal Conference, His Grace Abraham Kome, the Archbishop of Bafang. The event witnessed the presence of all bishops of Cameroon alongside priests and other lay faithfuls. The Apostolic Nuncio for Cameroon, Cameroon and Equatorial Guinea was equally in a Seka to witness the historic event. I will now talk sports. Barely 8 days to the start of the African Nations Championship, the fever of the competition is yet to be felt by many, especially in the nation's capital, Yaoundé. Major gadgets, flyers are said to be missing, and communication experts are advising the organizers to step up their game, as we end the following report with you, Haisentia.
The nation's political capital is yet to showcase the colors of a city ready to host a big football jamboree like the African Nations Championship, the CHAN. The image communication aspect of the event still absent.
We are not satisfied because print communications, audiovisual communication is not like we were waiting.
The communication aspect of the competition is really dangling. Our main road junctions don't have what we call those giant posters illustrating the strength of Cameroon to welcome and the rest.
Even the necessary gadgets to animate the tournament is yet to catch the eyes of the Yaoundé city dwellers.
The competition of gadgets are not even there. We're not even seeing them. I think mobilization so far for the CHAN is so far below standard.
The few dotted images that can be spotted so far, experts say, do not reflect Cameroon in any way.
We are very doubtful because even the colors we see, it's not our colors. We know the green, the winner green of Cameroonians, the lions, and we don't see. We see an orange. It's not Cameroonian.
The billboards in major road junctions of the city, still portraying more of and other cities, has gone into hiding.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. That was how we saw it for this edition of the news on Canal International. As from next week, you have the pleasure to have another host who will be accompanying another Francophone presenter. It's been a pleasure hosting you all this while. Take a good look and nice day, Junior.
En tout cas, Régina Léqué, c'est la fin du journal, vous l'avez dit. Merci donc à tous de nous avoir regardés cet après-midi. Retrouvons-nous la semaine prochaine. Bon week-end à vous, Régina Léqué.